This is what we're making today, guys. Beautiful crochet lace triangular shawl. You can see right through this thing. That's how light and breezy it is. It uses a number 1 weight. I'm sure I would like to try this in a light 3 weight or a 2 weight. And I would like to try it in 1 color because I think it will show off the texture best. Or a very light ombre. You can even use yarn art, this cake, yarn art flowers, or just yarn art. Beautiful. As long as you have 1,000 meters, 1,100 yards, you're good to go. And beads, I use number 6 or 4 millimeter beads. And I show you everything in the tutorial. I love how this came out. Now look at the one at the back. That one was made with the same yarn. It's a wrap, and it is the 200 gram, 7 ounces cake. And yet, this is how much I had left. You won't have too little. And in that one there, I had this much left. So you will not run out, right? But for some reason, that one, the frill part, or let me say the color change, started in the last lacy puff stitch rows, and it sort of, to me, it cut into my last segment. But give it a try. And if you're watching this after a year when the pattern is free, like my Count My Blessings shawl as well, after a year the pattern is free, enjoy and leave me a comment. You can always email me if you have any questions. Anyway, without further ado, let's get going. The yarn we'll be using for this tutorial is 1 cake of, it's a wrap, 1,100 yards, 1,006 meters, which is 7 ounces or 200 grams. It's a 50% acrylic and 50% cotton blend from Red Heart. And yes, what do they recommend? 3.25 crochet hook, which is what we will use. This is classified as a size 1 or a super fine. And that is about all I have to tell you about the yarn. The hook, as I said, is a 3.25 millimeters. You'll need scissors, a wool needle just for the one end that where we start and the end where we finish off, to work in those 2 ends. Now the beads is a number 4 millimeter or a number 6, hashtag 6 beads. You can choose any color. I chose clear beads, and that is how I'm going to attach it to the stitches. This is optional. You do not need beads. I'm using, let me just see if you can see. It says 1.00 and then it has a 10. Now, at one point it did confuse me, maybe some of you know, because I have a point, this is a 1.00. So I have a 0.75, but it is definitely bigger than this hook. So I'm not sure what size this hook is. All I know is it's the smallest hook that I own, and it works beautifully for these beads. But as you can see there, it says 100 and a number 10. And the hole in here is 1 millimeter through each bead. So you can see it easily slides onto the bead and then onto the stitch that we wanted to add it to. But this is for later, and this is optional. You don't need this. So let me put this aside and let's get started. Before we start, I just forgot to mention, if you have a cake of Yarn Art Flowers Moonlight or any 1000 meters, let's see here, this is also a super fine, and how many meters, also a cotton and acrylic mix with a bit of metallic polyester. There we go. This is also 1000 meters or 1093.6 yards, and this is 260 grams. But the thing is, you also need a cake with 1000 meters. Any cake with 1000 meters will do for this project. So okay, let's start with our red heart. I start from the outside because I don't have a little cozy that keeps this, and then eventually it will want to fall in on itself. So I decide to start from the outside. Okay, so there we go. Make a slip knot on the hook, like that. Then I'm going to chain 1, and this will become my circle in the middle. I'm going to chain 3, which will serve as a double crochet. I will chain 1, which will serve as a 1 chain space. Now I'm going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the first chain. So I'm going to work a double crochet, and another one, and a third double crochet. This will be a 3 double crochet cluster throughout, as we use in the granny stitch. Chain 2, which will be my corner, and in the same stitch I'm going to work another 3 double crochet cluster stitch, 1 double crochet and a second double crochet, and a third double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 1 and make another double crochet in the same stitch. Wait, let me just make the double crochet. So this is what it looks like. Like that. So now I'm going to chain 1. Well, I'm going to turn my work, but I know my pattern says turn the work and then chain 1, but I prefer to chain 1 and then turn my work. Now I'm going to work a double crochet in the very first stitch, like this. And that is how every row starts, with a chain 1 and work double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1. And I've just done a chain 1. Now there where my chain 1 space is, I'm going to work a 3 double crochet cluster, like this. 1 double crochet, a second double crochet, and a third double crochet in the same chain 1 space. I'm going to chain 1 Let me just get some yarn. Now I'm going to jump to this 2 chain corner space. So in the chain 2 corner space, I'm going to work a corner, which is a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 3 double crochet cluster, chain 2 and a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1. So let's work that. In the chain 2 corner space, I'm going to work 3 double crochet cluster, which will be 1 double crochet, a second double crochet in the same space, a third double crochet in the same space, chain 2, 1 and 2, and in the same chain 2 space another 3 double crochet, 1 and 2 and 3, and a chain 1, and in that one chain space that we made here we are going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1 and work a double crochet in the last stitch. So we're going to work 3 double crochets, 1, just pull it a little bit if you can't see, 2 and a third double crochet, chain 1, and in the last stitch work a double crochet like that. There we go. See, it's starting to take shape. Now we're going to chain 1 and I turn my work. I work in the first stitch a double crochet. Now obviously I've chained 1, which counts as nothing. I'm working a double crochet, so I've got to pull the stitch up a little bit so that it reaches the double crochet height. I chain 1. I'm going to work in the 1 chain space right there, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, in the chain 1 space work 3 double crochets, chain 1 because I've reached this corner space, and I'm now going to work in the corner space a 3 double crochet cluster, which looks like that, 3 double crochet cluster, a chain 2 and a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1. So let's do that. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 2, another 3 double crochet in the corner space, 1 and 2 double crochet and 3 double crochet, chain 1, and in the chain 1 space I work a 3 double crochet, 1, 2 and a third double crochet, chain 1, and in the last chain 1 space I work 3 double crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and in that last double crochet I make a double crochet. That is the end of row 3. Now we're going to do row 4, and row 4 is the row that we will repeat until we have 15 rows. This will become the spine of your shawl. So let's start with row 4. I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to work a double crochet in the very first stitch, and a chain 1. Then I'm going to work a 3 double crochet cluster and a chain 1 in each chain 1 space until I reach the corner. So there is a 1 chain space, work a 3 double crochet cluster. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3 double crochet and a chain 1. In the next chain 1 space, work a 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1, until you reach the corner, but we're not in the corner yet. So there's the chain 1 space before the corner. We're going to work our 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1. In the chain 2 corner space, work what we've done before. You can see in the pattern even it's highlighted that this whole spine corner is the same. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1 in the chain 2 space. So let's do that. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet, there we go, chain 1. Now continue and work 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1 in each chain 1 space until you reach the last chain 1 space. So there's a chain 1 space. We're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1. There's a chain 1 space. We're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2, and I'm just getting some yarn, 3 double crochet, chain 1. There's the chain 1 space. That's the last chain 1 space. Now I'm going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the last chain 1 space, 3 double crochet cluster, 1 and 2 and 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1, work 1 double crochet in the last stitch. And the pattern says turn your work. If you were counting stitches, you should have 36 stitches. There you go. And if you're counting, you should count every stitch. So we count the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 times 2 is 36. If you can, you count down the same, but it should be the same. There you go. Just want to put my hook in there and pull it a little bit so one can see clearly. Now you're just going to repeat this last row until you've done 15 complete rows, and then I meet you again. There we go. This is the first 15 rows, and it is called in the pattern the double crochet segment. I call it a segment because, or you can call it the whatever you like. This is the spine, as you can see, running up here. You'll see it clearer once we move further on into the pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. 15 rows. So we are at the end of row 15. Let me just grab my work here. We're at the end of row 15. There we go. End of row 15. I am turning my work. Now we are going to start the next 4 rows we call the double crochet segment. And we are going to start the row like we have started all the other rows. Let's just do this here. It says in row 16, start like all the other rows, chain 1, work 1 double crochet in the very first stitch. There we go. And then chain 1. Work 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space. So there's your chain 1 space. So we're going to work a 1 double crochet in that space. And then it says we should work 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach the chain 1 space before the corner. So we're going to work a double crochet in each stitch, and there is the chain 1 space before the corner. That's the corner. So there's the chain 1 space. So I'm going to now work, there's my first stitch there, a double crochet in the next top of the stitch, a double crochet in the next stitch, a double crochet. So that's in the top of the previous row, 3 double crochets. Then there's a chain 1 space, and I'm just going to work a 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, because I'm supposed to work a double crochet into every stitch, and that's what I'm going to do. 3, there we go, 1 double crochet in every stitch. Just rather go slow and see that you don't miss anything. Chain 1 space. You can go through the chain 1 space like that, or you can work around it like I've done at the previous occasion. Remember that the chain 1 at the beginning of every row does not count as anything. It just gives us a lovely straight edge. Okay, so I think what we should do is continue, and I will meet you at the chain 1 space before the corner. Right, like that. Just work a double crochet in every stitch until you reach the chain 1 space before the corner. There we go. Now I've worked 1 double crochet in every stitch. There we go. Until I reach the 1 chain space. Now in the 1 chain space I'm going to put 2 double crochets. Chain 1, 2 double crochets in the 1 chain space, chain 1. Now I'm going to skip those 3 stitches. I'm going to hop into the 2 chain corner space, and I'm going to work a normal corner. 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets, all in that same chain 2 space, 3 double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the 3 double crochets, and in this chain 1 space I'm going to hop right to the chain 1 space, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets. And then the pattern says work 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach the chain 1 space, and it's talking about that very last chain 1 space, right? So in every stitch I need to work 1 double crochet. Now this I'm only going to go with you in this round, and then you need to repeat this round 3 more times, because this double crochet segment is a total of 4 rows. This is row 16, so row 17, 18 and 19 you're going to repeat exactly what we've done here. So there we go. Now work a double crochet in every stitch, a double crochet as you see it, a double crochet. There we go. So you can see that the spine is going to look the same. You have a chain 1, 3 double crochet, 2 chains, 3 double crochet in the chain 2 space. You have a chain 1, you have your 2 double crochets there, and you have your 2 double crochets there before and after in the chain 1 space, and then a double crochet in every stitch. I meet you at the end of this row. There we go. I've reached the end of this row. I've reached the 1 chain space because it said work 1 DC in each stitch, 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach the chain 1 space. Now in this chain 1 space you're going to work a double crochet, which is basically how we started the row. How we start and how we finish is the same. I'm going to chain 1 and work 1 double crochet in the last stitch. And that is the end of this row. Turn my work, and for those of you who are counting, you should have 130 stitches. Now please continue and work row 17, 18 and 19 the same. You should repeat this row 16 and do it 3 more times until you've finished row 19, and that is where I will meet you. There you go. We have finished row 19, our 4 rows of crochet, double crochet segment, 16, 17, 18 and 19. And if you count your stitches, please remember you start off with, you can hardly see that chain 1. So that is a double crochet and a chain 1. So you're always going to start off with 1 and 2. And then you start counting 3, 4, 5, 6 until you get a total of 148. Let me count for those of you who want to know. 148 stitches, 74 on the upside, 74 on the downside. If I say upside, as it lies in front of you, going up the hill if you want to say, and down the hill, obviously, if you turn it around, then what was down the hill will now become up the hill and down the hill. So the upside and the downside is how I refer to it, just in my mind. Okay, so you've done row 19. Now we're going to continue to row 20, and we're going to do 4 rows of crochet mesh. I call it a crochet mesh segment. Let me just get it here for you, and this is how we're going to start, like we've started all the other rows. I'm going to do a chain 1, and in the first stitch we're going to do a double crochet and a chain 1, and in the 1 chain space we work a double crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and in the double crochet following in the next stitch make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. So what you're going to be repeating is this. You're going to be repeating, you skip that, you're going to repeat double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, up to the chain 1 space before the corner, right, until you reach that. That's how the pattern reads as well. So you can clearly see what we have to do here. I'll just do 2 more. Skip 1 stitch, in the next stitch work a double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, in the next stitch work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and you're going to work like that until you get to the end of this, to the 1 chain space before the corner. I'll see you there. So we're coming close to the chain 1 space, and it works out like this. Skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, and then we are at the chain 1 space. So in the chain 1 space work 2 double crochets like this, 2 double crochet, and now I'm going to skip those 3 double crochets and hop straight into the corner. Wait, I need to do a chain 1. My apologies. I work 2 double crochets and then I chain 1. Hop to the 2 chain space, work a corner, which is your 3 double crochet, and a chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochet, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochet, chain 1, and the pattern says to skip those 3 clusters, in the chain 1 space work 2 double crochets. So let's do that. In that chain 1 space we're going down again, we're going to work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch work a double crochet, and then chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch work a double crochet. So what you'll be repeating is doing the double crochet, the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1. So that's the rhythm that you get. Repeat onto the chain 1 space here at the end, up to that chain 1 space that we have there. So right up to there, repeat this pattern. I see you there. So we have worked double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and that lands us into that chain 1 space. So now we have to work a double crochet, and we're going to chain 1 and work a double crochet in the last stitch like we've been doing. And you can count. If you are one of those who want to count, then this should be a total of 154 stitches up and down. And now we're going to turn our work and do row 21, and we're going to start like we always do with a chain 1, work a double crochet in the first stitch, and a chain 1, and it says work a double crochet in the chain 1 stitch, chain 1 space, chain 1, a double crochet, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, and that's what we've done. Then we're going to chain 1, skip a stitch. Another stitch that we skip happens to be a double crochet, which lands us in the chain 1 space. So we're going to work a double crochet in there. Chain 1, skip 1, and the one we skip is a double crochet, and we are going to work a double crochet in the next chain 1 space. So you can see how this is going to work out. You're going to have a chain 1, skip 1, which happens to be the double crochet, and work a double crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip 1. So all you have to do is just chain 1 and a double crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1 and work a double crochet in the chain 1 space. And you continue like this until you reach the chain 1 space before the corner. So just continue like this until you reach this chain 1 space before the corner, that space right there. And we are coming up to this chain 1 space. There's a chain 1 space where I work my double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch. In the next stitch, which is the previous row's double crochet, I work a double crochet, and then we have now actually reached the chain 1 space, and we are going to make 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space. So you can see that it will look like a 3 double crochet cluster accidentally, because it's not. It's 1 double crochet, and next to it in the next stitch is worked 2 double crochets. Now we are going to chain 1, skip the 3 double crochets, jump into the chain 2 space in the corner, and we are going to work a corner which is 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, and another 3 double crochet in that same chain 2 space, 1, 2, and 3, and a chain 1. Skip the 3 double crochet cluster, that 3 double crochet cluster, in the chain 1 space, work 2 double crochets. There we go. Now we want this side to match this side, so we're going to start off with a double crochet on top of this previous row's double crochet. chain one, skip one, work a double crochet in the next stitch, which will be the chain one stitch. Chain one, skip one, and in that next stitch, which is a chain one stitch, we work a double crochet, chain one, skip one, and you're going to continue. You want to have a look at this, is what it comes out like. So you want to, it must look like, you know, when you build with bricks, they're not lying on top of each other, they're lying one there, then one there, one there, one there. So that's what we want. We don't want them to be on top of each other. Okay, continue until you reach the chain one space. Chain one space. So I've worked my double crochet, chain one, skip the next stitch, and that lands us right on that chain one space, and I'm going to work a double crochet, chain one, and in the last stitch work a double crochet. That is the end of this row number 21. If you wanted to count the stitches, it would be 160 stitches. And now we're going to, in row 22, the next row, we're going to repeat row 20. So let's do that. I'm going to turn my work, chain one, and work a double crochet in the first stitch. Always have to do this slowly. Chain one, work a double crochet in the chain one space, chain one, skip one, and a double crochet in the next stitch, which happens to be a chain one space. So it's double crochet, chain one, skip one is what you're going to repeat. So it's double crochet, chain one, skip one. So keep on repeating that. Double crochet, chain one, skip one. Okay, so there we go. What we need to repeat is double crochet, chain one, skip one. And then in the next stitch, double crochet, chain one, skip one, and that brings us to the chain one space before the corner. And we're going to work 2 double crochets in that chain one space. So now you can see there was 2 double crochets. In the next row it looked like a 3 double crochet. In this row it's going, because it's a repetition of row 20, it's going to be 2 double crochets, which means in the next row it's going to look like row 21 again. So chain one, do the corner, which is your 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain one, chain two, and 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain one, skip the 3 double crochets. In the chain one space you make 2 double crochets, chain one, like that. Let's just compare. So we're going to skip the first stitch. So I was saying we're going to chain one, skip the first stitch, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a double crochet in the next stitch, which happens to be a chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch, work a double crochet. So what you will be repeating is, I skipped that one, this is what you will be repeating. Double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. And you're going to continue until you reach the chain 1 space right there at the end. And I will see you there. I've made a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. It brings me to that very last chain 1 space. I'm going to make a double crochet in that chain 1 space. I'm going to chain 1 and make a double crochet in the last stitch. And then I chain 1 because I actually prefer to make the chain 1 before I turn my work. Then we turn our work like with everything else. With every row we start the same. We've done the chain 1, we work a double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space that we've just made, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch, which happens to be a chain 1 stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, which is the double crochet, and we work into the chain 1 stitch a double crochet stitch. So just repeat that. This is your last row of this mesh. I will see you here at the chain 1 space just before the corner, like that. There we go. I'm just before the one chain. I'm going to chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet, and there you see the same as the 2 rows before. I put a 2 double crochet in the chain 1 space, which makes it again look like a 3 double crochet cluster, which it is not. Chain 1, skip the 3 stitches, go to the chain 2 corner space, work your corner, and the corner is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochet, 2 and 3 double crochet, and a chain 1. There we go. Now we're going to skip the 3 double crochet. In the chain 1 space, we're going to work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And then we start off, because we want to keep the pattern. So in order to keep the pattern, you have to work a double crochet there, which means you have to skip this stitch, which means you have to work a double crochet in this stitch. So that's why we start with a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. In the 1 chain space, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. So we're going to be working, this is what you must repeat: double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch, double crochet, and continue like that until you get to the chain 1 space right there. There, we've done a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, and a double crochet in the last stitch. This is the end of row 23 and the end of our crochet mesh. Beautiful. Now we're going to start on row 24, and for the next 4 rows, 24, 25, 26 and 27, for the next 4 rows we will do a double crochet segment. Now here we did a double crochet segment of 4 rows, and you're going to do the same. So I'm just going to do the first row with you. I'm following along the written pattern, my written pattern. There we go. Chain 1 and a double crochet in the first stitch, which I always do slowly. Chain 1, and in the chain 1 space make a double crochet, and then work 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach the chain 1 space before the corner, is how the pattern reads, and that means up to that 1 chain space. So a double crochet in each stitch. Every stitch, a stitch is a stitch. If it's a chain, it's a chain, it's a stitch. So there we go. And now in the next one, a double crochet, which happens to be the top of a double crochet. Then the chain 1, I work a double crochet around it. Work a double crochet in top of that double crochet. And I get you at the chain 1 space before the corner. There we go, we're up to the chain 1 space in the corner, and we are going to put 2 double crochets there. I find putting 2 double crochets there doesn't leave a huge gap all along the spine, which is why I did that. I think it looks pretty. Chain 1. Now skip the 3 double crochet cluster, jump into your 2 chain corner space and make a corner. And a corner, as we know by now very well, is your 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 1, skip the 3 stitches as the pattern says, the next 3 stitches, which is your cluster, go to the 1 chain space, make your 2 double crochets, hey, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then we're going to work a double crochet in every stitch until we get to the chain 1 space, which is like the second last stitch of this row. There we go. In the chain 1 space at the end, we're going to put a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet in the very last stitch. I'm not particular where I put it in the last stitch. So there we go. Now I'm going to repeat this 3 more times. This was row 24. I need to make row 25, 26 and 27. And at the end of row 27, you will have 196 stitches, if you care to count. I don't particularly care to count, but because I wrote the pattern, I wrote the number of stitches for those of you who do want to count. So for the next 3 rounds, don't really have to look at the pattern. All I have to remember is when I turn my work, I'm going to do what I always do, which is chain 1, double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet in every stitch as I see it. When I get to my corner or the spine of the shawl, I'm going to work a double crochet there. In the chain 1, I will work 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip the 3 double crochet cluster. In the corner chain 2 space, I will work a corner, which will be my 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1. Then I will skip the 3 double crochets. In the chain 1 space, work 2 double crochets and work a double crochet in every stitch as I see it until I get to the last stitch. Do what I did exactly now in that chain 1 space, which is difficult to see. I will work a double crochet and then I will work a chain 1 and in the last stitch a double crochet and repeat the process another 2 times. So you need to do it. This is row 24. You need to do it for row 25, 26 and 27. I see you at the end of row 27. Then we're going to start row 28, our granny stitch segment. Okay, so we have come to the end of row 27 and you should have 196 stitches at the end of row 27, which is our double crochet segment. Now we're going to go over to the granny stitch segment and we are going to do 10 rows of the granny stitch segment. We start with row 28. So let's do this. Let's turn our work and we're going to do a chain 1, a double crochet. Let me just get to the center here so you can see what I'm doing. A double crochet, chain 1, and in the 1 chain space there, you're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster. 1 and 2 double crochet and 3 double crochets all in the same stitch. Chain 1. Then you're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch you're going to work another 3 double crochet cluster and a chain 1. 1 and 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 1. Skip 1, 2, 3. In the 4th stitch work 3 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3. So the pattern reads, you're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch, skip 3 stitches, and you continue like that until you reach the chain 1 space. You're going to go around all the way like this until you reach that chain 1 space before the corner, and then I will get you there. So I've worked all the way up to the chain 1 space. That's looking beautiful. Now I've chained 1 and I skip 1, 2, 3, and my 4th stitch brings me smack bang to that chain 1 space, and I'm going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in there. 1, 2 and 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then skip the 3 and jump into the corner 2 chain space, and then you work your corner, which is your 3 double crochet. There we go. 2nd double crochet, third double crochet, 1, 2 chains, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1, corner is down, and skip the 3 double crochet stitches, jump to the 1 chain space, work your granny stitch 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2 and 3 double crochets, chain 1. Right, now we're going to do what we did here. We are going to work, skip 1, 2, 3, and in the fourth one we are going to work 3 double crochets and a chain 1. 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip, skip, skip. In the next one, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1. And you're going to continue like that until you get to the chain 1 space. I just want to show you what this cake is looking like. This color is nearing its end. Very exciting. So I've worked my 3 double crochet, chain 1. I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, and that brings me to that chain 1 space right at the end, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets. My apologies for that. 3 double crochets in that last chain space. I'm going to chain 1, and in the last stitch I will work a double crochet. Chain 1, turn my work. This is the end of row 28. You should have 204 stitches for those of you who want to count. Obviously, if everything's working out and you don't really care for counting, leave it. Chain 1, in the first stitch, work a double crochet, chain 1. In this first chain 1 space, work a 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2 and 3 double crochets, chain 1. Now in every chain 1 space up until the corner, you are going to work 3 double crochets, chain 1. When you get to the corner, because then when you do your 3 double crochet, chain 1 there, you're going to jump to the corner 2 chain space, work your corner, which as usual we've worked all the way, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1. Then you're going to jump to this side, and in every chain 1 space you're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1, until you get to the very last stitch. In that 1 chain space you're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1, and in the last double crochet you work a double crochet, and then you're just going to repeat after this. This was the first row. The second row you're going to repeat for 10 rows. Let me just check the pattern. It is for 10 rows up to and including row 37. You will do this. This is now row 29 that we're busy with, because we've started with row 28. Now we're on row 29, and in every chain 1 space we are working a 3 double crochet granny, like we call it, the granny stitch. 3 double crochet, chain 1, jump to the next 1 chain space, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and that's how you're going to continue as I've just described to you. This double crochet segment is 10 rows. So I will see you at the end of row 37. Okay, this is not the end of row 37. Let me just show you. I've come to the corner space. I've worked my 3 double crochet, chain 1 in that chain 1 space. I'm going into the corner and I'm working a normal corner, which is my 3 double crochet, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochet, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1. That's what it's looking like. Now I'm going to jump into the chain 1 space, and all along I'm going to continue working the granny stitch, which is your 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1 in every chain 1 space. There we go. I'm only doing this because I always do a pattern, a tutorial, and keep my daughter in mind because she cannot read well. She has a form of dyslexia, and if I always think if she can follow, because she can't follow the written pattern, if she can follow the tutorial, then anybody should be able to follow the tutorial. So there you go. So it's as if I'm talking to my daughter Jessica. Just continue working the granny stitch all along. So it's going to look like this segment where we started off with the granny stitch. So we're repeating this the first 15 rows, but we're only going to work 10 rows of the granny stitch. See how beautiful it's coming out. Everything is working out beautifully. Okay, so now that's it, and continue. We've done 1 and 2. Do another 8 rows of granny stitch. There you go. So we've done it. This is growing. You can see we're onto our next color. That's the end of row 37, and you should, for those of you who want to count the stitches, it should be 276 stitches. So now we're going to do the next 3 rows will be a double crochet segment. So here is a double crochet segment right there, but it is 4 rows. So we're going to do 3 rows, and if you choose to add beads, then on the last row you can add them. Now you can add any color. I mean, I love this color because it sort of picks up on the purple later on, you know. Or you can have this color. I got this one, 4mm beads and number 6, and or you can just use the plain clear. I like to always have plain clear glass beads in stock because you can use it on any project. Okay, but first we're going to do row 38, which is a double crochet row. As you can see here, we have started in our new color right there, a few double crochets, 3 double crochet clusters from the end of our last row. So let's go over to the next row, which is row 38, and start the double crochet segment. We're going to start like we start every row, and that is with a single a chain 1, and a double crochet in the first stitch, and then a chain 1. Then in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet, and work a double crochet in every stitch until you reach the chain 1 space before the corner. That is what the pattern says. That is what I'm doing here. Every stitch until we reach the corner. When you reach your chain 1, that is also a stitch, but I'll just go around the chain 1. I just find that easier, like this. Wait a minute, just make sure. When I'm working with very thin yarn like this, I prefer to work slower sometimes, just until I get into a rhythm, because it must look pretty. Okay, continue making your double crochets all the way down to the chain 1 space. There we go. So I've reached the chain 1 space, and we're going to do what we've done all the other times. I love the color change. You work 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space, 1 and 2, chain 1, hop to the corner, skip those 3 stitches, hop to the chain 2 corner space, and work a corner, which is your 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and another 3 double crochets in that same chain 2 space. There we go. And then chain 1, hop to the chain 1 space, skip those 3 stitches, hop to the chain 1 space, work your 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space, and work a double crochet in each stitch. Let me just get some more yarn. You work 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach the chain 1 space at the end again of this row, like that. Sometimes I've got to look twice to see, is there a stitch? Yes, it is a stitch. Did I put it through both or just through one? There we go. Continue to the chain 1 space. I see you there. Okay, so I've worked up to the chain 1 space, which we know is difficult to see. And I'm making my double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, and working a double crochet in the last stitch. Now just repeat this row, exactly what we did here in row 38. Do that for row 39. If you decide to add beads, I will be adding beads. So obviously you'll see how I add beads, and then I will meet you when we start row 40. I've reached the end of row 39, and now I'm going to show you how I insert my beads, and let's do this together. If you decide to do the beads, to insert beads, this is how you're going to do it, how I recommend you do it. I mean, you can do it any which way that you know how to do it. This shawl is growing and it wants to keep on falling off the table. Okay, let me see if I can go closer. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1 and work a double crochet in the first stitch as per normal, as you did in the previous 2 rows. And a chain 1. And in the chain 1 space, you're going to work a double crochet. In the first stitch, you're going to work a double crochet. Let me just try to go very nice and slow and neat. And then pause. On this second stitch, I'm going to add my bead. So this is where I take my hook, and you can see the size on there. It's a number 10, 1.00. I'm not sure if that's for millimeters, because I can tell you that this point is smaller than a 0.75. So there we go. Put one bead on the hook like this. I'm going to put a bead on the hook and like that, and just thread it onto my stitch. I'm switching back to my 3.25 hook, and I'm working a double crochet. Wait, and I'm working a double crochet there. One double crochet and the second double crochet, and pause. Because can you see that there will be a bead there, and then the next stitch which lies over this stitch. In the next row we will be doing a row of mesh like this. So we're going to do a double crochet, skip one, double crochet, skip one, double crochet. So this is the stitch that you're going to skip. So you'll work a double crochet here, skip one, chain one, double crochet. And here we need to insert a bead again. I've put it on my hook, and I simply slide it over. That's how I do it. Now I'm going to work a double crochet, and a second double crochet, and it's when I work the second double crochet that I pause, because the stitch that's on this hook is going to lie over the next stitch. Can you see? Once you put it like that, you can see that stitch needs a bead, because this bead is over this double crochet. No bead, a bead over a double crochet, and that's what you need. So I stop, take out my hook, I put that number 10 hook through a bead, thread it, not thread it, put it on the hook, and then pass it over onto the stitch. Just like that. Put down your 10 hook, take up your 3.2 millimeter, and make one double crochet, make a second double crochet, pause, insert a bead. So that's what you're going to do. If you are not putting beads in this row, just repeat the previous row, and I'll see you at the end of this row. But I am putting beads in. Let me see if I can move out a little bit. Just a little bit, because I think I'm a little bit too close. There we go. Just pick a bead. Like that. Pass it on to the stitch. See, that's quite easy enough. Hey, All you need to know is where to start. So now that I've got my bead, I'm going to do 1 double crochet and a second double crochet and pause, because that on that stitch is where I need to add a bead. Put down your hook, pick up another bead like this, push it over, switch back to your normal hook and do your 2 double crochets, a double crochet and another double crochet. And that's how you're going to continue. Pause, insert a bead and do 2 double crochets. Pause, insert a bead and do 2 double crochets. I will see you at the chain 1 space at the corner. Okay, so I've made it to the chain 1 space. So there I made added my bead, then I did 2 double crochet, add my bead. In the chain 1 space, work your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1. In your chain 2 corner space, you're going to work a corner, which is 3 double crochet, as all the previous times you've done it. It's a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 2 and a 3 double crochet cluster, and a chain 1, 2 and 3 double crochets, chain 1. Now you're going to work, instead of 2 double crochets, you're going to work 1 double crochet. Then you're going to work a second double crochet. No, my apologies. You're going to, after working the 1 double crochet, you need to insert that bead. Just work 1 double crochet, pause, and put a bead on that stitch. There we go. Because as you see, once I work the second double crochet in the chain 1 space, that bead falls over my second stitch. See, it falls over the second one. Now we continue and we work another double crochet, and then I pause, take out a bead, transfer a bead from my hook to the stitch, and you continue what you've been doing. It was just about getting that, coming around the corner, getting it right. Look, if you don't get it right and you miss it by 1 stitch, it's not the end of the world. You'll see how we fix it, or in the next row. So just continue, and once you've added your bead, you work 2 double crochets, 1, 2, insert your bead, and you work 2 double crochets. Pause, insert a bead, like that. Now you can see when we come around, we do the next round, we will do a corner, work 2 double crochets in there, and then you're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. You're going to skip the stitches with beads. There we go. So I've reached the end of this row and I've done 2 double crochets. I'm going to pause and add a bead. Because that is what I would have done. In the 1 chain space, I'm going to work a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet in the last stitch. And this is the end of row, just quickly check, 40. 40. Now I'm quickly going to count the beads for those of you who want to know how many beads this round used. There we go. The pattern says 138 beads. I have 139 beads, so obviously I put 1 bead extra somewhere. I've got the wrong hook here. What we're going to do now is start the row the way that we've started all the other rows. We're going to work 5 rows of puff stitch mesh, as I call it. So we start off with a chain 1 and work a double crochet in the first stitch, as we've been doing this entire shawl, and a chain 1, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space. Now what we want to do, the first row of our puff stitch mesh is going to be a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch. But now let's see, this first stitch that we encounter here has a bead in it, so we're going to chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the stitch that does not have a bead, like that, right? Chain 1, skip the stitch with a bead, in the next stitch work a double crochet, just like that. That's the first row of our puff stitch mesh. We have 5 rows to go. Chain 1, skip the stitch with a bead and work a double crochet in the next stitch. Got it? Right, continue like that. I see you at the 1 chain space before the corner. Okay, so I've reached the chain 1 space. There you go. You can clearly see what's happening there. So now I'm just going to do 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space. Chain 1. In my corner chain 2 space, I will work a corner as we've done all the way up to now. This is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, 1 and 2 and 3 double crochet, chain 1, and we do 2 double crochet in the chain 1 space. There we go. Now we need to work a double crochet there because there is a bead and we can't work on a bead. So then we just, so you see whether if you got it right in the previous row and your bead fell here, you would have made a chain and made a double crochet there. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. But you cannot do that. Just a moment. Okay, so I was explaining. So you need to work double crochet, chain 1 in this as we've done up to here. So you're just going to make it work. So wherever you now encounter a bead, whether you got it right, you got it wrong, whichever way, there is really no wrong. You're just going to work, you see a stitch without a bead, you work a double crochet, you chain one, skip the bead, work in the next stitch that does not have a bead, a double crochet. Chain one, skip the beaded stitch, in the next stitch work a double crochet. Chain one, don't be too tight on the chains. There we go. And now you're just going to continue until we reach the chain one space at the end of this row. Right? I just want to share this with you. There's the one chain space. After that bead, I did a double crochet, chain one. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to work a double crochet in the chain one space, chain one, and a double crochet in the very last stitch. There we go. Now we're ready for our next row that is actually going to contain a puff stitch. Here we are at the start of row 42, the puff stitch row. So we're going to start the way we've started all our rows, if not most of them, then all of them. Chain one, work a double crochet in the first stitch, and a chain one. Work a double crochet in the chain one space, chain one, skip the next stitch, which is a top of a double crochet, and in the next stitch, which is a chain stitch, work a puff stitch. So this is how you're going to make it. You're going to, as if you're doing a double crochet, you're going to yarn over, fetch yarn, and bring it up 7 times. So here we go, a second time. Yarn over, go through, fetch yarn, bring it up. That's your second time. Yarn over, go through, bring it up, third time. Yarn over, go through, bring it up, fourth time. Yarn over, go through, bring it up, fifth time. Yarn over, go through, bring it up, sixth time. Yarn over, go through, bring it up a 7th time. Yarn over. Now you're going to pull through everything except there must be 2 stitches on the hook. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through the 2 and a chain 1. To me, it really looks like a little bead sitting there. But that's what it must look like. Okay, let's do that. So you've chained 1, so you're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to work a double crochet. You're going to do this twice. Again, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet. Chain 1. And now it's time for another puff. So we're going to work a puff. Everything is separated by a chain 1, chain 1, chain 1, chain 1. You're going to work a puff, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, puff, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, puff, all the way to the chain 1 space before the corner. Let me make another puff stitch with you. I call it a puff stitch. This is the way that I want the stitch to look. So you're going to make as if you're going to do a double crochet. So it's yarn over, dip through that chain 1 space, grab yarn and pull it up 1. Now do it 7 times. Yarn over, dip through, bring up twice. Yarn over, dip through, bring it up 3 times. Yarn over, dip through, bring it up 4th time. Yarn over, dip through, bring it up 5th time. Yarn over, dip through, bring it up 6th time. Yarn over, dip through, bring it up 7th time. Yarn over, pull through everything except there should be 2 stitches on the loop, on the hook. Yarn over, because you can see this strand runs through all these puffs. Yarn over, pull through those 2 and chain 1. Beautiful. Yarn over, make a double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip a double crochet in the chain 1 space, make a double crochet. So that's what we're going to do. If you've got it, get going. If you haven't, I'll do another one with you. Right? This is what it must look like. Just get some more yarn out here, and then let's do this. One more time. Chain 1, skip 1, a puff stitch 7 times. It's yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull up once. Yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull up a 2nd time. Yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull up a 3rd time. Yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull up a 4th time. Yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull up a 5th time. Yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull up a 6th time. Yarn over, dip through, grab yarn, pull over a 7th time. I like to keep my finger here because it sort of keeps the loops at the length that you've pulled them up. Yarn over, pull through everything except there should be 2 stitches on the hook. Yarn over, pull through those 2 and chain 1. Skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, this one last one I'm going to do with you. Yarn over, dip through, grab, pull up once. Yarn over, dip through, grab, pull up twice. Yarn over, dip through, grab, pull up 3 times. Yarn over, dip through, grab, pull up 4 times. Yarn over, dip through, grab, pull up 5th time. Yarn over, grab, pull up 6th time. Yarn over, dip through, grab, pull up 7th time. Yarn over, pull through everything except there should be 2 stitches left on the hook. Yarn over, pull through those 2, chain 1. Beautiful. Double crochet, chain 1. Skip to the next chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 1. That is what it looks like. continue to the chain 1 space there before the corner. So we've reached the corner. I've made a puff stitch and a chain 1. I'm going to skip that stitch. In the next stitch I make a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and that brings me to the chain 1 corner space where I will put 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, and then in our corner space we are going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1. My apologies for that. 3 double crochets, 1, 2 chains, 3 double crochets, chain 1, in the 1 chain space, work 2 double crochets, so we're going to copy this. So we've done the 2, now we're going to chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, work a puff. See, and it will look the same as this side. So that's how you're going to start. Let's do a puff stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times do I pull up yarn, and I pull through everything, 2 stitches on the hook and through both, and a chain 1. Now you're just going to continue like you've been working here. You're going to work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, another double crochet in the chain 1 space, a chain 1, and then a puff stitch. So it will be like it was before: puff stitch, double crochet, puff, double crochet, puff, everything with chains in between. So you just continue the pattern that we've been following up to now, up to the last chain 1 space. There we go. So now I have reached my last stitch. I've done a puff stitch, chain 1, skip 1, and I'm landing in that last chain 1 stitch. I'm making a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet in the last stitch. I think this is looking absolutely gorgeous. Let me count the amount of puffs I've got. Okay, so I have on the upside 24 puffs and on the downside 24 puffs. That's a total of 48 puffs. Okay, let's go to the next row, which will not have puffs in it. It will basically be a repeat of the first row of the segment. So we're going to chain 1 and double crochet the way we start all our rows. Chain 1 and work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in that chain 1 space, chain 1. Wait, let me just, my yarn is, there we go. So the puff stitch is treated like a double crochet. I'm going to do on that side, on the chain 1 space, a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 in the next stitch, which is a chain 1 space, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, which is a double crochet in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet. Continue like this till you get to the chain 1 space. There we go. I'm at the corner space and I am working finished with a double crochet, so there's no double crochet chain 1. I finished with a double crochet, and then I make 2 double crochets in that corner space, chain 1, and then I work a corner as usual, 3 double crochet, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1. Now I skip, of course, the 3 double crochet cluster. I go to the chain 1 space directly and I make 2 double crochets. Right, we're going to copy this side. So we start in the first stitch, we work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, which lands us then in the chain 1 space, make a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, lands us in the 1 chain space, make a double crochet, and you continue like you did before. You treat the puff stitches as double crochets, so you just work around them and right to the last stitch, which is where I will see you. See, beautiful. There we go. This is the last chain, so there's a double crochet. I've put my double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, that lands me in the last chain stitch, chain 1 and a double crochet in the last stitch. No, don't be difficult, just cooperate. There we go. This is the progress so far. So the next row is going to be a puff row. After that we have another mesh row, and then that will complete our 5 rows of puff stitch mesh. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with a chain 1 and a double crochet. Chain 1, and in the chain 1 space, there's the chain 1 space, see, difficult to see, work a double crochet and a chain 1. In the next chain 1 space, work a double crochet, chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space, which is exactly above the previous puff, is where you make a puff. So that's, there we go. Yarn over, pull up as if it's a double crochet, and now I have got to do it another 6 times. Yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over 4, yarn over 5, yarn over 6, yarn over, draw yarn up for the 7th time, yarn over through all the stitches except 2, stay on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and there is my puff stitch on top of that one. I've done a chain 1 and I'm going to make a double crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip 1, in the chain 1 space make a double crochet, chain 1, and we are going to do another puff stitch. I quickly do one with you, and it is, I've done a yarn over, go through, pull up yarn, and do it another 6 times. Yarn over, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and every time I do a yarn over right, pull through all, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, skip the double crochet, work a double crochet, chain 1. So this is what it looks like. You're going to start with a double crochet, and you're going to see that your puff stitches are above, directly above, it will fall directly above the puff stitches that you have made in the second row. Okay, continue to the 1 chain space before the corner. I've reached the chain 1 space. Now let me just explain. There was my previous puff. I've just made a puff there. I made my 1 double crochet, a second double crochet, no, 1 and 2. Then technically I was supposed to make a puff there, but we don't do that in this pattern. You only make puffs above the puffs that you've already got, right? Okay, so and then I made a double crochet and a chain 1 in that stitch. I'm going to skip that stitch, and then I'm working 2 double crochets right here in the chain 1 space, chain 1, jump to the corner, work the corner, which is the 2 chain space. You work 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and you work chain 2 and another 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Wait, that's my second double crochet, third double crochet. See, be careful. I must be careful, you must be careful. There we go. So now I'm going to do a chain 1, skip those 1, 3 double crochet cluster. In the chain 2, I'm going to work 2 double crochets, chain 1. Now you can work in reverse if you want. You can see there is where your next puff will be. Double crochet, and your extra double crochet is going to land there, which will reflect the same. It will be a mirror image of this side, which is what you want. So skip 1 double crochet in that top of the double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, which lands us in a 1 chain space, make a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, lands us in a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and it lands us on top of that previous puff, and we're going to make a puff. Yarn over, pull through, pull yarn up, and you need to do it 7 times. I need to do it 6 more times. Yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3, yarn over, 4, yarn over, 5, yarn over, 6, yarn over, 7, yarn over, pull through all except 2 stitches remain on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, skip 1 in the next chain 1 space. So you're just going to continue what you've been doing. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. So after your puff, you do your 2 double crochets in the puff. So I see you at the end of this row. There we go. I'm going to chain 1, skip 1, and that lands me in the last chain space. I will make a double crochet, chain 1, and then work a double crochet in the very last stitch. Now all that remains is one row that is like the first or the third, which will be the 5th, which is no puff stitches. So that's quite easy peasy. Let's turn our work. Start with a chain 1 and a double crochet in the first stitch, like always. Chain 1, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, which might sometimes be difficult to see. Our little cake is shrinking. Chain 1, skip that double crochet in the next chain 1 space, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet, and like before, you treat your puff stitches like double crochets. So chain 1 and just work around it in the next chain 1 space, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and that you're just going to continue up to the chain 1 space before the corner. And I will see you there. Beautiful. There we go. So that was the last stitch before the chain 1 stitch, and I have worked a double crochet in there. Now I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the chain 1 stitch. There's no double crochet chain 1, right? Just remember. So it's a double crochet. We did a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, which landed a double crochet in the last stitch. So now we're just going to, when it brings us to the chain 1 space, we're just going to make 2 double crochets. And you can see the pattern sort of repeating. 2 double crochets, looks like 2, 3 next to each other, 2 next to each other, 3 next to each other, which is what it should look like. Chain 1, work the corner, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3, all still in the chain 2 space corner, and a chain 1. Now we turn the corner and we are going to jump to the chain 1 space, work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. There is a double crochet, so that will be a skip, that will be a double crochet. So just work a double crochet in there. That's how you do it if you're not sure. You just do the process of elimination. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space. There we go, chain 1, and continue to the last chain 1 space. So we finished row 45 of the, we had 5 rows of the puff stitch mesh segment. Now on the last row here, for those of you who are counting stitches, it's as per the pattern on the upside, and remember I said the upside is actually if you're holding it in front of you, I call this the upside and the downside, but when you turn it around, then this side will always be the upside, this side the downside. So on my upside I have 163 stitches, 162 stitches. Not sure why there is a difference, but the total number of stitches are 325. I think what is most important is if everything just looks symmetrical, then you're A for away. Now the next segment we're going to do is the double crochet segment for 3 rows, which you have done before. Let me just before this we had 3 rows of double crochet segment. So we are actually going to repeat these 3 rows because we want to put in beads again after the 3 rows, because we are now going to have 3 rows of double crochet segment, and then we're going to have again 5 rows of puff stitch. So the puff stitch will obviously look a little bit different then, because we have more stitches on our hook, more stitches to work on, so there will be more puff stitches. For instance, I can at least see there will be another one, and there might even be another one. So we're going to start with 3 rows of double crochet segment. So let's do that. You know how to do that, exactly like we did it there. Let's just start on it together. We're going to make a chain 1 and a double crochet in the first stitch, like this, and a chain 1, which we always do. In the chain 1 space, which is often hard to see, we're going to work a double crochet, and then we're simply going to work a double crochet in every stitch up to the chain 1 stitch before the corner. See, in the double crochet I work a double crochet stitch, the top of the double crochet. In the chain 1 stitch I work a double crochet. Just work your double crochet in every stitch. Right, and just up to the chain 1 space. There we go. I've reached the last stitch that I've worked. Now there's the chain 1 space. I've worked my double crochets all along. We work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 in the chain 1 space. Then we're going to chain 1, and work 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space, chain 2, and another 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space, which is the corner that we've been doing this entire shawl. 2 and 3 double crochet and a chain 1. Skip the 3 double crochet cluster, jump into your chain 1 and make 2 double crochets. Continue to work 1 double crochet in every stitch that you see as it presents itself up to the chain 1 space at the end of this row, and that is where I will get you. Beautiful. There we go. Just continue like that. That's the last stitch, and then in the chain 1 space we make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet in the last stitch. Now the next row is going to be your second row of double crochet, and then a third row of double crochet, because it's your double crochet segment. But remember, with these 3 rows, on the third row we inserted beads, which is what I want to do again on this. I want to make my 2 rows of double crochet, and on the third one I want to insert beads. So I'm going to go ahead and work another row of double crochet, and I'll see you in the third row of double crochet when we insert beads. If you don't want to insert beads, no problem. As you can see, you don't really need beads. You do your 3-row double crochet, you do your 5 rows of puff stitch segment, that's fine. You don't need beads, but I would like to just put some beads in there. Okay, so go ahead and either do your 3 rows, another 2 rows of double crochet, and then I'll see you, or do another row of double crochet, and the third row I'll see you when I start inserting my beads. So I must do my third row, which will be the same as this row with beads. So I'm going to start on that row, and I've decided to choose this color bead instead of the more pinkish ones that I chose here, because I want it to, I think it picks up the purple very nicely, because we're going to get to the purple. That one was too much purple for me. Okay, so, and our little cake is shrinking. We're getting there, guys. Okay, let's start on this. Okay, there we go. Like all the other rows, you're going to make a chain and a double crochet in the first stitch, and a chain 1, and in the chain 1 space work a double crochet and pause and add your bead. And this is what I will be doing, adding my bead just like we did previously. Now after, see, let's just take it so that it stays around that stitch. Now I'm going to work 1 double crochet and a second double crochet and pause and add a bead just like we did before, and I will see you at the end of this row, because this row looks exactly like this row that we did down here. I've added my bead, and then I work a double crochet and a double crochet, there. Just see that it slips to the right place, so that when we work, the next row is going to be double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, and the skip ones is going to be the stitches that has beads. There we go. Okay, see you at the end of this row. I've come to the end of row 48, the 3 double crochet mesh segment, the 3 rows of double crochet mesh segment, and I actually inserted beads again, which you don't need to do, and I have a total of 342 stitches at the end of row 46. So I don't know, you know, the previous time we counted, there was an uneven number of stitches. Now it's even again. One stitch somewhere, I don't know, added, missing. Doesn't matter. What it shows you is that it doesn't really matter if there's, you know, one stitch more or less. You can fudge it, or though I haven't done any fudging yet, but it shows you not to worry so much about counting stitches. I put the stitch count in that pattern for those of you who want to count, but you know, whatever we do is we work with what we've got. So there is my beautiful stitches. So now we're going into another segment of these 5 rows of puff stitch segment. So you actually know how to do this. So I'm just going to start it off with you, and then you know, if you doubt, you just look at what you've worked before, or you just read the pattern, or you go back in the video to the puff stitch segment. But let's just start you off. Okay, so the first row is going to be chain 1 and a double crochet in the first stitch, like we always do. And I always do it slowly because this is a very thin yarn. Then a chain 1 and a double crochet in the first chain 1 space, and then followed by a chain 1. There we go. And we are going to work a double crochet in the stitch that does not have a bead. Chain 1, work a double crochet in the stitch that does not have a bead. So just continue like this. And then I meet you at the chain 1 space. I say meet me at the chain 1 space before the corner, I forget. So I've gone past. There, that was my last stitch. There is the chain 1 space, and in the chain 1 space I made 2 double crochets. Chain 1, then I jump to the chain 2 corner space. I work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1 in the chain 2 corner space, like we've done the entire shawl. Now we jump to the chain 1 space here and we make 2 double crochets. Then you can see the first stitch here, there is no bead, so we put a double crochet. Then we make a chain 1, skip the beaded stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip the beaded stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and so you continue. And I was here by the time I remembered, hey, I've passed that corner a long time ago. Okay, I meet you at the end of this row. I'm nearing the end, and look what happened here. Can you see that I skipped a stitch? This is easy for this to happen. So how do I correct this? Well, I must say to myself, am I willing to pull out this entire row and this entire row, because this was at the beginning of the row. I must pull out this entire row and all the beads up to this and just for one stitch? My answer is no. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to skip one, work a double crochet. So this is how I fudge. So I'm not fudging stitch count. I must make a plan on how to make this work without. So I'm simply going to work in the stitch with the bead, because I'm supposed to work double crochet in that stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch. The problem is that there is a bead in that stitch, but I'm going to push the bead to one side and still work a double crochet in that stitch. Otherwise my following rows will not work out, because obviously, as you can see here, I need my double crochets where I need them so that my puff stitches can land where they need to land. So yes, so that's what I'm doing, and as you can see, it doesn't really look bad, hey? Chain one, skip one, and now there's a bead, but I'm going to push the bead to one side and squeeze a double crochet next to it. Chain one, and then there's the last stitch. I'm going to skip that stitch, work in the chain one stitch, a double crochet, chain one, and a double crochet like this. This is the end of row 50. Is it 50? Let me just make double sure and just make sure of the stitch count as well. Okay, correction. That was row 49. Row 49. And I had 174 stitches on the upside, 174 on the downside, which is a total of 348 stitches. Now we go to row 50, which is a puff stitch row. You know exactly how this goes already, so let's just start you off. And that is a chain one, and then in the first stitch we work a double crochet. Like that, double crochet and a chain one. In the first chain one space we work a double crochet, chain one, and then we work a skip one and a double crochet in the next stitch, chain one, skip one, and a puff stitch in the next one. And this is how it goes. We've done yarn over, go through, pull yarn up. That's once. I need a total of 7 times, so let me do it 6 more times. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yarn over, pull through everything except there should be 2 stitches left on the hook. Yarn over, pull through both, chain 1. And the first puff stitch is made. And our little, look, we don't have a lot to go. Then we're going to change color again. I love it when the cake changes color. So skip one. In the chain 1 space, you work your double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet, and that's how you're going to continue. You're going to work a puff stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, and chain 1, skip 1, puff stitch. Continue like that until you reach the 1 chain space in the corner. There we come to the corner. There's the corner. I've done my puff stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and we don't, well, you can, I mean nothing stops you, but I'm not doing a puff stitch on plain stitches, so I'm just going to do a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, that lands me right here in the chain 1 space, 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, in the corner we work a corner. My yarn is getting thinner, less. We work a 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, jump into that chain 1 space, work a double crochet, and we try and copy this side, work out 2 double crochets, chain 1, and we're going to skip 1. In that middle one we're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, which brings us to the chain 1 stitch, and I'm making a double crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to skip 1, make a puff stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and pull through everything, yarn over, pull through everything, 2 stitches on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, the end of our puff stitch, I make another double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and now you just continue the little pattern, right, which is your a puff, 2 double crochets, a puff, 2 double crochets. There you go, onto the 1 chain space. There we go. And I'm going to chain 1, skip the last double crochet, that brings me to the last chain stitch, double crochet in there, chain 1, and a double crochet in the last stitch. There we go. There we go. Okay, the next row is going to be double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Just no puffs, double crochets. Okay, so let's just start off. Chain 1, make a double crochet in the first stitch, like we've done so many times. Chain 1 and double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip 1, jump to the next stitch, which is a chain 1, and make a double crochet there, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one, and that's how it's going to be. You're going to treat your puff stitches as double crochets. My apologies. So you're going to make on that side a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, there we go, that's what it looks like. Double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, up to the 1 chain space before the corner where you make 2 double crochets, but I will see you there. There we go, we've reached the chain 1 space before the corner, and we are going to do, I ended with a double crochet, don't make a chain 1, just 2 double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, work a corner, which is your 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet, chain 1, skip your 3 double crochets, jump to the chain 1 space and work your 2 double crochets. Like that. Beautiful. So we're going to start off with a double crochet, because that's where we have to work a double crochet. Skip 1, so that must have a double crochet if you want to use process of elimination. Just in case you're unsure and you don't want to make a mistake, and that's how you determine it. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Do what you've been doing up to now, and I'll see you at the end of this row at the chain 1 space. It's coming along. That is the last, well, not the last stitch, that's the last chain space. So we are going to work a double crochet in that. Chain 1 and a double crochet in the last stitch. Getting close. Okay, the next, like we did before, the next row is a puff stitch row. So you're going to chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, and we need to put a puff stitch right there. So we are going to do a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, puff stitch, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Pull through all except the last one, which means 2 is left on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, like many times before, skip 1, double crochet. So now you just continue the pattern, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. All you have to do is to make sure that your puff stitch is above the previous puff stitch. There's a puff stitch. We're going to make a puff stitch now. I see you at the 1 chain space before the corner. Okay, I'm heading to the corner, but now let's look at this, because obviously we've got many more stitches now than we had in the previous puff stitch repeat. So I've got a puff stitch, double crochet, and then I've got this opening here. I'm not going to make a double crochet there. I'm actually going to work a puff stitch in there. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and pull through all, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1 and skip 1, and then in that I am going to work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1. Now I'm going to skip that double crochet and work in the second double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and that brings me to the chain 1 space. So it's looking slightly different. 2 double crochets there, chain 1, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, 1, 2 chain, and 1, 2 and 3 double crochets, chain 1, and we're going to skip the 3 stitches, jump into the chain 1 space. So what you're going to work after the corner is chain 1, well, that's part of your corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1. Now you're going to jump to the 1 chain space, work 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, which is difficult to see, skip that, it looks like a 3rd double crochet, and in the 1 chain space work a puff stitch. And from there on you repeat the pattern because you want your puff stitches to be on top of each other. So it's going to be just chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, puff, puff on top of a puff. So that's what you want, right? Okay, so continue the pattern like this up to the last chain 1 space of this row. I'm trimming this where my color changes because I don't want that standing up, because it looks like they literally just make a knot, eh? Okay, and I think these cakes actually differ because in the previous cake that I used, the last color appeared earlier in this row already. I mean, I'm very happy with where it is appearing. So I'm going to do a chain 1, skip that stitch, hop into the last chain 1 space, make a double crochet, and see, there only does my color change, which suits me down to a T. And it's chain 1 and work a double crochet in the very last stitch. Beautiful. Now we're going to work a double crochet row. That row that before the row that you see before the double crochets here, that double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. So let's do this chain 1, turn, and we are working with a beautiful purple. Did I do a chain 1? Wait, no, I can't remember. I've got to be 100% sure. I like to be 100% sure. Turn the work, chain 1, work a double crochet in the very first stitch. Now this is the last row of this shawl before we start the border. Chain 1, in the chain 1 space work a double crochet, and we're on to our new color. Chain 1, skip 1 in the next chain 1 space, work a double crochet. I love this color. Chain 1, skip 1 in the chain 1 space, work a double crochet, and just continue until I see you at the 1 chain space before the corner. Exactly like that. I must say this is better because in the previous one that I showed you in the introduction, the last color didn't fall on the right place for me. Okay. and we've reached the chain 1 space before the corner. Work 2 double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, and then in the corner we work the corner, which is your 3 double crochet, 1 and 2 and 3 double crochet, chain 1, chain 2, 3 double crochet, 1 and 2 double crochet and 3 double crochet, chain 1, jump to the chain 1 space, work your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Now you're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch, there, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip 1, and you continue with the pattern like this. There we go. We've come to the chain 1 space, double crochet, and a chain 1 and a double crochet in the last stitch, like that. Now we are going to start with the border. I think before I do that, let me just count the stitches for those of you who are still counting. There we go. So I have counted the stitches on the last row, and it is 372 stitches, 186 on the upside, 186 on the downside. And yes, as you can see, you know, if you are 1 stitch out, we're still going to block this, right? If you're 1 stitch out somewhere on one side, and then you can be 1 stitch out and it won't make a huge big difference. Okay, let's start on the border. So we are going to turn our work now. This one is different. We're going to chain 1. I think it would help if I put the yarn that side. We're going to chain 1 like we've done before, and we're going to make a single crochet in the first stitch instead of the usual double crochet. There's a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. Don't be too tight on the chains. Skip 3 stitches. That's your first chain 1 space, so it's 1, 2, 3. Work a single crochet in the next stitch. So I'm going to work a single crochet. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch I make a single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, loosely chain them, see? 1, 2, 3 is what I skip. In the 4th one I make a single crochet. So I'm going to, The tension should be, it's important that your tension is right in this row, like this. So this is what you're going to do. I will meet you at the corner. So it's just going to be chain 3, skip 3, single crochet in the 4th. Chain 3, skip 3, single crochet in the 4th. See you at the corner. I've gotten to the 1 chain space, and it works out if I literally follow it. There's a single crochet, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the top of that double crochet another single crochet, 1, 2, 3, make 3 chains, skip 1, 2, 3, in the top of that double crochet make a single crochet. And what I'm going to do is I literally just follow this around 1, 2, 3 stitches, and if I don't know where a stitch is, I look on the top. If you see a V, 1, 2, 3 in the 4th one. Like that. 1, 2, 3. There's my 2 chains, 2, 3. So there's my 4th one. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3 in the 4th one. Did I do it right there? 1, 2, 3 in the 4th one. That's right. So what you're doing is you're setting up the next round, because we're going to work that frill to hang on to these stitches. So it doesn't really matter, because it will end up rounding off this corner. This corner, which is now very pointed, will not be so pointed once the shawl is done. So just continue like this. 1, 2, 3 chains. Don't be too tight on the chains. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch. Now my 4th stitch is a chain stitch, whereas coming on the upside it was on top of a double crochet that I worked. Just saying, that's how it works out for me. If you wanted to adjust here a little bit, you know, I mean, it won't make a world of a difference if I, for instance, worked into that one so that I can work in the top of the double crochets there. No problem. Just, you know, 1 stitch here or there, it is not going to make a difference. I don't think so. As long as it looks right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one. So there we go. I've been working my 3 chain little loops. I've ended up there. Now I must chain 3 and skip 1, 2, 3, which brings me to air. To nothing. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to work in the last stitch and make a single crochet there. Now let me just tell you this. This is the 3rd shawl that I make on camera. No, 3rd shawl I make of this pattern is what I mean. The 3rd one is on camera. Now, what has happened in a previous one is that I would get to the end here and it would just not be enough, which means somewhere I miscalculated.
So what would happen is I would pull out and I would have a double crochet, a chain 4, skip 4, make a single crochet, chain 4, skip 4, and make a single crochet to get to the end. Just saying, there's more than one way to do this. In the big scheme of things, you don't notice it. I went ahead and did that. You can't see it on that shawl because this row is merely as a little structure where the frill will hang onto. No one is going to notice if that little space is 4 chains or 3. Honest to goodness, no. So don't be too harsh on yourself. As you see what happened here, this is what happened. So now we're going to turn our work and we are going to start chain 1, and I'm in the chain 3 space. I'm going to work 5 double crochets like this. 1, 2, 3 double crochets and 4 double crochet and 5 double crochets in that 3 chain space. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. I'm going to skip to the next 3 chain space and I'm going to work 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, chain 2, skip to the next chain 3 space, work 5 double crochets, and this is how you're going to continue right around. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now let me tell you, if you find that your shell, we're calling it a shell, sort of leans more towards the one side of the 3 chains, what you can do is you go into the chain 3 space and you work 1, 2, and your third double crochet you just put through the center, the center chain, so that it anchors it. 3, 4 and 5, just so that it doesn't move as much. That's just another way, just saying, if you like that look better. I did it sometimes because I don't like it moving around too much. See? So you can do that. And if you at this point wanted to add a bead, add it to the first stitch, which means once you've finished, you chain 1, you can add a bead, chain another 1, and work your next. I'm not adding beads in this round. And work your 5 double crochets. 1, 2, and then just anchor 1 if you want. 3, 4 and 5. Maybe you think it'll make it look fuller. If that's what you think, do it. There you go. You can see the flare. frill is already starting. So I see you at the end of this round, because when you get to the center, you're simply going to work from the one, you get to this one, you're just going to work into the next one, work into the next one. Exactly, there's nothing happens here. You work 5 double crochets in the 3 chain space, chain 2, 5 double crochets in the 3 chain space, chain 2, and that's how you continue. Nothing special around the corner. See you at the end of the round. Let me just show you what happened around the top. See, you just follow your chain 3 spaces, you work your 5 double crochets, chain 2, continue to the end, and I have reached the end here. Now next row is going to be I chain 1 and I turn my work, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in top of each of the 5 double crochets. So then I will have 10 double crochets, right? So there we go. 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets. In the next stitch, work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. In the top of the next double crochet, work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We don't have a lot left, but we'll have enough. 2 double crochets in the next one, 1 and 2. In the last stitch there, 5th stitch, 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, chain 2, 2 chains, up to the next, what do you call this? Do you want to call this a shell? And you make 2 double crochets in top of each one. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 5 double crochets now become 10 double crochets. Right, so it's really going to flare out, and then you make a chain 2, jump to the next 5 double crochet shell and work 2 double crochets in top of each one and chain 2, and you continue right to the other end. You can, again, this is an opportunity to add a bead if you want. I'm not going to at this point. Here we go. This is the end of row 56. There we go, 56. Now we're going to row 57. Chain 1, and in this row we had 5 double crochets. In this row we worked 2 double crochets in each of those, which made this amount of double crochets double in amount. Now we're not going to increase, we are just going to lengthen. So we're going to work 1 double crochet. I've worked the chain 1 and work 1 double crochet in the top of every double crochet. So I'm not going to increase. I have 10 double crochets. I'm going to work in the top of each of these double crochets, which means I still have 10. So this is row 57, and my stitch count should be the same in row 57 as it was in the end of row 56, because I'm not increasing in stitches. I'm simply working what I see. If I see a double crochet, I work a double crochet on top of a double crochet. There we go. So that is what we're doing here. So there you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, jump to your next 10 double crochets, and just work 1 double crochet in the top of every double crochet, so that you have 10 double crochets, and then make another chain 2. And that is how you're going to do this entire row until the end. Of course, again, it is your choice if you want to add beads in your chain 2 spaces. Okay, let's just do that and confirm. There we go, there we go. 1 in each, 1 in each, chain 2. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. You're just not, that was an increase round, this is not an increase round, we're just creating length. So I see you at the end of this row. There we go, I've reached the end here. This row with the chains was 54, 55, 56. We were expanding because we were working 2 double crochets on top of each of the 5 double crochets of the previous row. And in row 57, we were only adding length. We did not expand any further. So 57 and 58 is actually exactly the identical rows. So I'm just going to turn around here and make a chain 1. I'm going to work my 10 double crochets like this, and then I'm going to add beads in this last row. And I chose the color because I think, you know, I mean, you can choose any color you like, of course. Of course. We all change everything that we see, you know. We never do it exactly, well, seldom do it exactly as the pattern is. There we go. So I'm going to, I've just worked a double crochet in each double crochet, like that. Now the way I add a bead, you can do your own thing. The way I add a bead is I'm chain 1, and then I use this very thin crochet hook, and I'm going to add a bead. So at this point, you've already seen me add beads. You know how to add a bead. But at this point, I'm adding beads. I chain 1, add a bead to that stitch, chain 1, so that it lands in the center of that 2 chain space. And then I'm just going to be doing exactly what I did in the previous row, which is working a double crochet on top of a double crochet. Right? When you get here, you're just going to chain 1, pause, add a bead, chain 1. So that's what this last row is going to look like. So I'll see you at the end. I've reached the last stitch. I actually went and sat and did this entire last round, which, as you know, if you did this, took a long time, and watched a movie, so you know. How do you do that when you're not sitting at a table? You put these little beads in a little saucer or something like that. And then I worked out of that, watching a movie. Okay, so finished with the beads, and this is what's left. There's actually a lot left, but I don't think it's enough for another row. I wouldn't risk it. Anyway, this is the last one. This is a row 58. And I'm going to just tie off here quickly. Let me get my scissors. There you go. Yarn over and pull through, secure. And you can work this end in any which way. There is only 2 ends to work in. Isn't that marvelous? I think that's fantastic. Having made a wearable and you only have 2 ends to work in. I just go a little bit one way and then I come back the other way. Just go a little bit more and work it in the way you work it in your way, the way you see fit. And I do it my way. And then I just come back. And now I'm going to block this. I'm going to hang it on the washing line. I've got a short on my channel on how to block a triangular shawl. So I'll put a little card on the top. And you can do that. I think that's quite enough. There we go. This is a beautiful frill. I love the way it is, just that it came out. See, just a bead there on the last. And the only other end to work in will be the starting end, which I will just work in to and fro a few times. So there you go. This is the end of it. I hope you enjoy this. I would love to try this pattern in a 3-weight, a thin 3-weight. This was a 1-weight. I'd love to try this in a 3-weight and see how that comes out. I'd like to try this in just one color so that one can see the texture better. Okay, if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and please leave a comment. I'd love to see what you've done. Please join our Facebook group if you have and post a picture of your shawl. I'd love to see that. Every Monday we have a social crochet live stream and every Friday, but on a Monday we actually go to the Facebook group and we share with our YouTube viewers what the people are posting on Facebook. So yes, join us there as well, and join us for the crochet live streams Mondays and Fridays. It's a lovely place to be social with other yarn and crochet lovers. Thanks for watching. Bye.